Meeting will come to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here today in our viewing audience, October 10th. Your participation in city government is appreciated and welcome. If you have a mobile device, please turn it off as it may interfere with the room's electronics. My name is Carrie Estrella, Assistant Chair. ZBA board members today are Judith Lee and Tom Quinn. Staff is Matt Flynn. Zoning Board of Adjustment is a 5-member judiciary board established by state law. We are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council to serve without compensation for a 5-year term. Board meets twice a month to hear approvals involving hardships and strict application of current zoning laws. We also grant special uses and rule on administrative appeals. Are there any corrections to the minutes from our last meeting?
Yes.
Judith?
If you look on, there isn't a page number, but the second page of the minutes, where it says the motion, the motion was made and seconded to approve the request made by Quinn and seconded by Lee. However, the vote was unanimous to deny. The motion to approve was denied by Lee, Cochran, Quinn, and Reistroffer.
All right, so effectively then you would like to change that the motion approved was denied.
Yes, unanimously.
All right, do I have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Do you need a name call or can we just do a voice vote on that, Matt?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it does pass. All right, request of HV 19-16 of Thomas Lynch at 526 South Clark Street for hardship variance to construct 6-foot privacy fencing along the southeast and north property lines and to the immediate west of the dwelling. Section 17.09.030 H.2 of the Davenport Municipal Code requires a 4-foot fence in the front yard and an open fence in the corner side yard for fences over 4 feet. Staff?
Thank you. I'm Matt Flynn, Community Planning and Economic Development Department, filling in for Scott Copes, who's done the staff work on this. So I'll limp through the best we can. I think, first of all, Scott wanted to make sure to point out that the exhibit, I believe, presented by the petitioner actually isn't entirely accurate. It shows in the yellow line property going all the way essentially up to the fence, and there's actually some additional right-of-way there, so they're aware of that. And you'll see in, I believe, the next drawing, that's a more accurate depiction of where the proposed fence was. Since I'm on this slide, because it will come up later, when you have you're always concerned with the solid fence and its impact on the visibility triangle, and this illustration shows that while there's other challenges with this request, that the visibility triangle really doesn't come into play here. The sent out notices, I didn't look at the count the number, but it was a pretty wide pretty large number of notices that went out. We just began, actually for ZBA cases, posting the property. So like a rezoning, zoning, hardship variances, and special use requests will get their own sign in their yard. That being said, we didn't receive any comments for or against the hardship variance. Just again, what we as staff have to do is we need to look at a strict application of the ordinance, and not unusual, we have a number of concerns with this variance request, even though, and I'm sure the owners will describe, my understanding is that they've taken an old church and they're actually converting it to a single family home, which is very laudable. But when it comes to the fence, I think we're requesting a little too much. They're requesting a 6-foot high fence that would extend all the way to the property lines within both the front and the corner side yard setback. They can legally do an open 6-foot fence, wrought iron, even chain link. Could do a solid 4-foot fence within the parameters that they request, just not 6 feet. So As far as a hardship, you kind of have to look at, does the property lose a substantial, well, it used to be all, or let's say at least a substantial amount of its value by not allowing the 6-foot-high fence, and staff's position is that, no, that doesn't by itself constitute a hardship. Secondly, we look at the physical characteristics of the site. Is the lot unusually shaped? Are there topographical challenges, floodplain challenges that limits buildable area? And this is, again, it's a corner lot, but it's a flat, open corner lot, so we don't believe that there's any specific physical conditions there. The third one, Scott believes that this wasn't necessarily being met. I don't know if I feel strongly about it, but that talks about unique circumstances. And as you can see, this structure is actually built basically fronting the alley rather than the Clark Street, like most of the other houses in the property. So I think you can. There are some unique characteristics with the property, but again, it's not a self-created hardship. Some of these challenges should have been apparent as they were considering purchasing the property. It's usually me back dumping out for water, but we'll wait for Judith to come back. Thick building. Anyway, continuing on. Finally, the last criteria under hardship variances is the extent that the variance, if granted, would alter the essential character of the locality. I think, in the established development pattern of the West End, relatively small lots, homes built up close to the street. I think having a 6-foot-high fence in the location proposed would could very well affect the essential character of the locality. So, in conclusion, at least 3 of the criteria we don't believe are met. The third is maybe neutral. I mean, it's laudable for the owners to take on this project. It's good to see this kind of investment, but we just can't support the variance. Do you have any questions?
Judith?
Excuse me. Is the fence good? The 6-foot fence going to go all the way around?
My understanding is it would go where the red line is.
Yeah, but all 4 sides.
Tom?
So, Matt, if the house had been located on the west side of the lot, closer to Clark Street, would that change things?
Well, they still have challenges with the corner side yard, which would be is that McKinley?
Yeah.
So again, in the new code with the R4C zoning district, there's a 10-foot corner side yard requirement. So that's where the fence would need to be set back. along Clark Street. Unless I'm mistaken, the front yard setback is 15 feet. So it would carve a fair amount off, but you'd be able to do the 6-foot high fence along the interior side property line to the north and then along the alley. Probably with a little notch cut out for that visibility triangle at the alley.
Thank you, Matt. Petitioner is here. If you'd like to come forward and give us your name and talk a little bit about your petition.
Can I ask a question before
Sure.
they come up?
Yep.
Is there a point where we need to give them a chance to, since there's only 3 of us?
That is true. And I apologize. I should have talked to you earlier about this. There are only 3 of us here today, and typically full board is 5. So you have an option because it would take all 3 of us today to vote in your favor for this to pass. So if that doesn't happen, you would have the opportunity to not go any further today. We could probably arrange to have it tabled, and then you could come back with a full board. It would be, most generally, we would postpone it for 1 cycle, typically, which would be
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Again, I do apologize. I should have told you that before we started. Thank you for reminding me.
We do move forward and we do not get a unanimous vote, would we have an option to appeal?
There is no option.
Well, technically, there is the appeal would have to
Oh.
go to the courts. This is not like the Plan and Zoning Commission where most of their action actually is ultimately decided by council.
Certainly. Yep. Take as long as you want. Take as long as you need.
end of the cold.
How I react to hate.
Yes.
Instead of the wheezing and sneezing, I'll just all of a sudden my throat will just lock up totally dry.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do.
We would like to table and come back. I did wanna know if there's a way to get, a copy of the slide, or,
Copy of.
or just the reason, kind of list of reasons why.
Oh, yeah. Scott didn't send you the staff report?
So that, that kind of let us put a little line there too, so otherwise I could have had,
Project. Do you wanna, were you proposing to do?
This was just an example of the six, this is what the 6 foot fence, this is a 6 foot, this is what exposed, because one of the things Scott said was you can't see inside the yard. The house, the way that it's set is about 12 foot, approximately 12 foot off the grade of the house, so it actually sits a lot higher than any other house that's in the area.
Well, why don't we're kinda half deliberating on what you say, so, certainly you can send that to me, and,
Thank you.
So do we have to do,
We-
something, they need to be in front of the microphone, right? To request the tabling?
We'd like to request to table this matter
Okay.
for 2 weeks, till the next meeting.
All right.
okay,
Thank
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 you.
you. So do I have a motion
To,
to table for one cycle?
I motion a table for one cycle.
I'll second.
Okay. Let's do a roll call. Matt?
Lee,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.
Rahal.
Yes. All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Will you say the direction? North should be pretty much straight up on the photograph. I'll just remind you we're adjourned, so we shouldn't talk about the case.
So go home. Matt, do you want this?
Sure.